Hello everybody, in today's video we're going to be covering the Monster Hunter Rise demo and how to play it. We're going to be focusing on one of the weapons, light bowgun. So, when you decide to play Monster Hunter Rise demo, you're given the choice of 3 different hunts. Inside of these 3 different hunts are 5 different monsters that you can hunt. The best way to start off with is hunting this great izuchi. It's a very easy fight and it's going to teach you the basics of the game. Once you load into here, you're going to see that there's 14 different weapons to pick from. You've got the greatsword, longsword, sword and shield, dual blades, hammer, hunting horn. You got the lance, the bow, heavy bowgun, light bowgun, insect glaive, charge blade, switch axe, and gun lance. Each of these weapons acts completely differently from how the other weapons work. It's basically like you've got 14 different games you can play here. So this video we're going to be covering the light bowgun, how to play with the light bowgun, and yeah, let's get into it. So one of the things that makes this game a little bit different from other games is that I'm going to highly recommend playing this game with a controller. A lot of people will actually play these games with controllers even on PC. On the Xbox controller, it's A to roll, or X on a PlayStation controller. When you do not have your gun out, we have these mechanics called wire bugs. On the bottom of my screen, you'll see these 2 little bug looking things. These are called wire bugs. If I do not have my gun out and I hold down left trigger, which would be L2 for PlayStation users, and I hit right trigger or R2, I basically shoot forward in that direction. So this is a great way of moving. It's going to help you jump over things, climb things, but once I do that, I can jump again with the A button on Xbox or the X button on PlayStation, or I can hang from the air by hitting the B button or circle button. You can combine 2 wire bugs together to go a great distance. So let's go wire bug, jump, wire bug, jump. Now I covered all that distance without touching the ground. You start off with 2 wire bugs, but you can have up to 3. If you go out in the wild and you find a wire bug just out in the wild, you can pick it up. And this will temporarily give you a 3rd wire bug. It will disappear after some amount of time. But until it disappears, you can basically just use it as a 3rd wire bug. One last mechanic I want to cover with movement is wall running. So wall running will deplete your stamina, but if you run into a wall and you hold down right bumper or R1, you'll see my stamina gets used up. But then I climb until my stamina is completely used and then I jump off of a wall. So that's a great way to move around and climb surfaces. Additionally, if you want to move fast, you can ride on top of your palamute, your dog. So to move fast, hold down R1 or right bumper. While you're holding it down, hit left trigger or L2 to get a speed boost. To pull your gun out, hit right trigger. To put it away, hit X for Xbox or square for PlayStation controllers. If you have your gun out, you hold down left trigger to aim, right trigger to fire. Very simple. On the right hand side at the bottom right there, you'll see we have different types of ammo. If I hold down on my controller left bumper and I go up and down with on the Xbox controller the Y and A buttons, or on a PlayStation controller the triangle and X buttons, I can go up and down through this list to pick my different types of ammo. So let's talk about what these different types of ammos do. Normal ammo 1 is an ammo that you have an infinite amount of. You will never run out of this ammo. If you look to the right hand side, you'll see that I have a footstep there. What that footstep means is that while I'm shooting, I can continue to move. You'll also see that little green recycle symbol. That means while I'm reloading, I can continue to move. And that orange double up arrow means that this is rapid fire. So if you look, when I pull the trigger once, you'll actually see 3 different shots being fired. Now let's compare that against normal ammo 2, which again has the footsteps. I can move while shooting. I can reload while shooting, but when I shoot, I only shoot 1 bullet. This is not rapid fire. So if we look through all the different ammos here, you'll see almost all of these I can move while shooting with the exception of cluster bombs. Now cluster bombs are a very unique type of ammo. They're basically mortar strikes, and you need to be extremely careful with these, because these, where they hit, if you have teammates there, your teammates are going to get stunned. You don't want to be stunning your teammates and causing them to flinch. That being said, almost all of these are about the same. If you look at my sticky ammo here, again, I can move while firing, but if I reload, I stay still because I don't have that green recycle symbol. I cannot reload while moving. So normal ammo is just normal ammo. You hit an enemy, it hits them, it deals damage. Basically regular bullets. Normal ammo 2 is a slightly more powerful version of the same thing. And then you've got Pierce. What Pierce does is, let's say you're hitting an enemy and it's a long enemy. It'll actually go through their body. And every time it goes through their body, it'll just continue to hit them over and over and over as it goes through their body. You can use Pierce ammo to pierce multiple enemies if you get them in a line. You can shoot one, the bullet will go through to the next one, hit them, and so on. So as I hit a monster, you can see it's actually cutting through the monster's body and hitting it multiple times. It's going to do more based off of how long the monster's body is in the direction that I shoot it. So if we shoot the monster on the side, boom, I just kind of got its ridge there of its spine, so it only dealt about 1 hit. But if the monster is facing us, we can actually get it to go through and hit it multiple times. In that case, it went head to tail, and I got 3 hits. Then you've got spread ammo, which is basically just shotgun. So if you look here, I pull the trigger and you see a bunch of different flashes. As you get further away, the effectiveness is just not there at all. So this is not really an ammo type I use very frequently, but if you want to get up there and do some damage, you can. Then you've got these elemental damage types. So monsters have different elemental resistances, and the best way to find out what type of elemental damage you should be using against a monster is to Google them and see what their weakness is. So in this example here, I've got flaming ammo, which deals fire damage, water ammo, which deals water damage, thunder ammo, which deals thunder damage, freeze ammo, which deals ice damage. Sticky ammo is a very interesting different type of ammo. When you shoot it to a monster, it sticks to them and basically explodes over time. The great thing about sticky ammos is that if you put them on a monster's head, eventually the monster is going to collapse. While you have your gun out, if you press the B button on an Xbox controller, or this would be the circle button on a PlayStation controller, you're going to put this little thing in the ground right here. This is something called a wyvern blast, and when something happens near it, some sort of damage happens near it, it explodes, and it can explode multiple times. These explosions will deal a lot of damage to anything nearby, so it's great to set these up near a monster and then just kind of shoot in their vicinity to cause them to explode near the monster. Now you need to be careful because these are stationary, and if the monster is moving around, the monster can just move away and you basically wasted it. So you want to be careful to do this when a monster is stunned, when it's knocked out, when it's doing something where it can't move. And you get 3 of these. If you look on the right hand side, you'll see that I have 2 left. As I use them, they go away. It takes time for these to recover. To perform a melee attack, hit Y and B at the same time, or triangle and circle for PlayStation controllers. If I hold down left bumper again, and I use the other controllers, the X and B, which would be square and circle on PlayStation, you can see on the bottom right, I'm navigating through my items. So you've got your potions, heal you, mega potions, heal you, max potion, fully heals you very quickly, antidote, which prevents poison, the well done steak. So if you look at my little yellow bar on the top left, the yellow bar is my stamina. As your stamina goes down, you can roll less and less and less, but you can eat food to replenish that. So as you see, I'm rolling, I'm doing some sort of maneuvers in the game, and this is consuming my stamina. When I run out of stamina, I'm not so much with the rolling. I'm spamming that roll button, but nothing's happening. You've got life powder, which is an AoE heal, a barrel bomb. When you set up a barrel bomb, this is just a timed explosive. And then you've got these large barrel bombs. Now what these are, these sit here until they take some amount of damage. Once they take damage, they explode. And then you've got a shock trap. Now, in the full game, traps do a lot more. They allow you to basically capture a monster and end the hunt. But in the demo, all they really do is allow you to stun a monster while you can deal extra damage to it. And then you've got your throwing kunai, which I would not even recommend using. Basically, it's just range damage, but a very, very small amount of damage. Here's an Arzuros coming our way. So, we're going to start off by just kind of shooting him with some normal ammo 1. The great thing about normal ammo 1 is that it's an infinite amount of ammo. As I look at him, you can see I kind of got a yellow reticle there. That means I'm not in the best range to hit. But when it turns orange, that means I'm in the best range to deal damage. So what I'm doing here, I'm using normal ammo 1. You can see my cursor is yellow. I'm not dealing much damage to it at all. I really want to be where my cursor is orange. Boom, I move from 1 damage per hit to 7 damage per hit. That's 3 damage versus the 21 damage I would be doing if I was properly in range. Every once in a while, you'll see a monster kind of glow like this. When the monster glows, you can hop on top of the monster, just deal any amount of damage to it, and you'll start to ride the monster. It's just like riding a Palamute. You hold R1 to move around while riding the monster, and then on the bottom right, it'll give you instructions. You have your light attack, your strong attack, and evade. You want to basically be spamming your attacks, and then after an attack, your monster is going to kind of sit there and recover for a little bit. If you don't want to have that recovery time, you can immediately use a wire bug to do an evade. So let's start off with an attack. Here's my attack, and now while my monster would usually recover, no, I hit a wire bug instead, so I can immediately jump into my next attack. Once you've hit another enemy enough times, you're going to get this mounted Punisher ability. So you hit Y and B at the same time, which would be triangle and circle at the same time, and then your monster is going to basically do this special attack here. It does a little bit of extra damage, and it's kind of a scripted animated attack. Once you're done riding the monster, you basically get kicked off of it. How do you trigger riding a monster? Well, when 2 different large monsters fight each other, Automatically, one of them is basically going to get triggered that way. Oh, they become in a rideable or a mountable state. Additionally, you can cause a creature to become rideable by doing wire bug attacks to it. So if I want to wire bug attack, I'm going to make sure my gun is out. I'm going to hit right bumper and Y or R1 and triangle at the same time, slide into him. Once I slide into him, I immediately perform an attack with right trigger, and boom, the monster becomes mountable. So I can do a lot of different things with this Urzaros. One thing I want to cover is the concept of wall banging. So a wall bang is when you point them at a wall and you launch them. It's going to deal a lot of damage to them. And then after that, they're going to be stunned for a second. While they're stunned, you need to immediately evade to use a wire bug to regain control of them. If you don't, you fall off. Just like that. So again, you can do that 2-3 times depending on how many wire bugs you have if you picked up extra wire bug. As you're moving along, you'll see these different collectibles that you can pick up. Collectibles are used in this game for crafting. A lot of plants turn into bullets for light bowgun. A lot of insects and other wildlife will help you out as well. These little things right here that are glowing orange, that's a spear burb. So basically, since I picked that up, I get a bonus to my defense for the rest of this hunt. And then I can pick up wire bugs to get that third wire bug. And here's another one. This little green spear burb is going to give me a little bit of health. So you can see when I picked it up, my health bar increased by 5 points. So I'm going to start off by doing some melee attacks to the head of the monster. Why? Because if I hit a monster in the head, it'll stun it. It takes a couple hits, but it works out really well because once you get that stun, boom, I can set up my Wyvern Blast near the head of the monster. Now I can back off. I got to get in optimal range. I want my cursor to be orange, and I basically just shoot the monster in the head. I know that its head is a weak spot. Now keep in mind, head will not be a weak spot for all monsters. I can use my wire bug attack to deal a bit of extra damage. And then basically, just stay alive, dodging its attacks while continuing to shoot it. Now, if you get hit like that, you can use a wire bug jump. So basically, I'm doing a wire bug vault. I hit left trigger, and then I immediately hit the A button, which allowed me to very quickly get back up. So one of the great things about this game is that this is a game of patience and taking your time and dodging an enemy. Even a weak little monster like this, you see when I take a hit there, that's about a quarter of my health. I can't take too many hits like that. That's another quarter of my health. So I need to make sure that I'm constantly healing or dodging attacks. And you can't just rely on healing constantly because there's a limit to how many heals you can have. So as you can see now, I'm stunned. So when you're stunned like this, you want to wiggle your left stick on the controller to regain control. So I'm going to die here. When you die, it's referred to in this game as carting because the palicos come and they bring you back to camp on a cart. You can do this a total of 3 times in a hunt. The third time that you cart, that is a game over. Now we're going to take everything we learned, we're going to combine it, and we're going to try and kill a great izuchi as quickly as possible. So as I make my way to the great izuchi, there's a couple things I might want to pick up, like that extra wire bug there. Give me that third wire bug. If I wanted more potions, I could pick up herbs. Here's a nice little spear burb to increase my defense. Increase my health with this spear burb. And I can just refresh that third wire bug by picking up another one. If I went up there, I'd be able to get an attack boost. Here I'll get a stamina boost. I'm going to launch off of the monster and try and melee it in the head to immediately get a little bit of that concussion towards knockout. Boom, there we go, I got that. So then I just start off by hitting it in the head. Very quick to get that knockout since I landed on it with a headshot. That takes a lot of practice. But if you can get that, that is huge and will help a ton. Come in here with a nice wire bug attack to get a ton of damage off start. Now it's very important in this game to just focus on dodging. It is important that you do not take hits, because there's only so much healing you can have in this game, and honestly, it only takes about 3 to 4 hits for most monsters to kill you in this game. So now that it's stunned, I set up my bombs, I back off, I do another wire bug attack into the bombs, boom, massive damage right there. It's about 223 points of damage. You could bounce him into a wall over and over again, but you'll see bouncing him into the wall, it's only doing about 30 points of damage. So a lot of people, when they're speed running, will just choose to just bang it into a wall once and then just kind of unload onto it with a gun, because they feel like they can do more damage with guns like this. Now also, if you're doing an actual official speed run, a lot of the rules stipulate that you're only allowed to bounce it off of a wall once, because this is a new feature to Monster Hunter Rise. And, you know, there's kind of people that think of it as kind of the purity of the hunt, how it was in the previous games where you didn't have these features. So we can see it's getting pretty weak. It's got that blue icon on the top right, which means it's about ready to die. Now, if we were playing the full Monster Hunter game, this would be the point at which we would capture the monster. We would lay down a trap and we would tranquilize it until it falls asleep inside of the trap. However, this is the demo. You cannot actually capture a monster. So we're going to use the trap to stun the monster. Oh, we can see the Azuros is coming here to check out what's going on. Boom. Okay, now the two of these are going to enter something called a turf war. They're going to look at each other and they're going to attack each other. Well, maybe not, because we killed the izuchi first. So there you go. Those are the basics to play the demo with light bowgun. If you like this video, please let us know, and we can go ahead and create videos for the other weapons as well. If you found this video helpful, please drop us a like. It really helps us grow our channel. Additionally, if you'd like to see more content in the future, please subscribe. That way you'll be notified as new content comes out. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.